All right, let's talk about something that can make a lot of UK contractors' head spin, IR35. You've probably heard the term, and yeah, it can sound super complicated, maybe even a little scary. But trust me, getting a handle on this is absolutely essential, not just for you, but for any client who wants to hire you. So let's break it down together.
So, what's the big deal? Well, it really all comes down to one simple question from HMRC, the tax man. Are you really a self-employed business owner, or are you basically an employee who's just using a company structure maybe to pay a bit less tax? That's what they call a disguised employee, and it's the entire reason IR35 exists.
And why should you care? Well, it hits you where it hurts, your wallet. If you get this wrong and you're found to be inside IR35, you could see your take-home pay drop by as much as a quarter. Suddenly, it's not just boring tax rules, is it? That's a huge chunk of your income.
Okay, let's dive in and get specific. What is this thing really? Its official name is the intermediaries legislation, but pretty much everyone just calls it IR35. We're going to demystify it for you right now.
So here's the official scoop. The whole point of this legislation is to find people who work through their own limited company, what's often called a personal service company, but whose actual day-to-day relationship with their client looks an awful lot like a regular job. And that's the person HMRC's is targeting.
You know, this whole thing isn't exactly new. It's been around since the year 2000. But the game completely changed, first in 2017 for the public sector, and then in 2021 for the private sector. And the biggest change of all, the responsibility for figuring out your IR35 status shifted from you, the contractor, to the client who's paying you. That's a massive deal.
Okay, so this all leads to a crucial fork in the road. For every single contract you take on, a decision has to be made. Is it inside IR35 or is it outside IR35? There are only two options.
Getting this right is everything. So think of it this way. Inside IR35 means you get treated like an employee for tax purposes. You pay income tax and national insurance right off the top. But, and this is the kicker, you get zero employee benefits. No paid holidays, no sick pay, nothing. On the other hand, outside IR35 means you're seen as a legitimate separate business. You have more freedom and, frankly, it's a much more tax-efficient way to operate.
And yeah, it's not just us saying it. As consultant Michael Tabarete sums it up, outside is where you want to be. It means you're autonomous, you're in control, and it's better for your bottom line. It's the goal for pretty much every genuine contractor out there.
Right, so how does anyone actually decide if you're inside or outside? It's not just a coin toss. There are specific tests that clients and HMRC use to look at the reality of how you work.
And this is super important. You can't just have some fancy wording in your contract. HMRC looks past the paperwork to see what's really going on. It's all about the big picture of your actual day-to-day working relationship. First, let's talk about control. Ask yourself, does your client tell you what to do, but also how, when, and where to do it? If they're micromanaging you, that looks a lot like being an employee. A true contractor is the expert. The client gives you the destination, but you're the one flying the plane.
Next up is a big one, the right of substitution. It's simple, really. Did the client hire you personally and only you can do the job? Or did they hire your business to deliver a service? If it's your business, you should have the right to send another qualified person to do the work instead. Even if you never actually do it, having that right is a huge sign that you're a real business.
And the last key test is something called mutuality of obligation. Sounds complicated, but it's not. It just means that when your current project ends, that's it. The client isn't required to offer you more work, and you're not required to take it. It's a project-based relationship, not an ongoing, open-ended job.
Okay, so we've got the theory down. But what does all this actually mean for your career and your bank account? Getting this right isn't just a paperwork exercise. It has massive real-world consequences.
Yeah, this really puts it all in perspective. The big one, obviously, is take-home pay. But it's also about control. Inside IR35 can feel like you're being treated like an employee without any of the perks. Outside IR35 means you are in the driver's seat, but it also means you're taking on the risks of running a business. It's a true trade-off.
And here's why clients are so nervous about all this. Since the rules changed, the risk is all on them. If they get your status wrong, HMRC comes after them for the unpaid taxes and fines. That's why some companies get overly cautious, and why the best contractors will often just walk away from a role if it's not assessed correctly.
Okay, that all sounds a bit stressful, right? But don't worry. Let's talk about what you can actually do to navigate all this and make sure you're playing by the rules. Here's your checklist.
First, look at your contract and how you actually work, and measure it against those 3 tests we talked about. But the absolute must-have, the golden ticket, is something called a Status Determination Statement, or SDS. Your client has to give you this. It's their official decision in writing. Make sure you get it for every single contract. And, when in doubt, talk to an expert. It's the best way to stay protected.
And that really leaves us with a huge question, doesn't it? The whole idea of a job is changing so fast. You've got the gig economy, people with multiple projects. It's all becoming a bit of a blur. So can a set of tax rules ever really draw a clean line between being an employee and being a contractor? It's a question that really gets to the heart of what work is even going to mean in the future.